So you're at the door and someone's like, well, I'm 100%. Well, what do you think you have to do to be 100%? Well, just believe. And so how would you draw, anybody can answer that, how would you draw out?
Sometimes it's different, sometimes I'll say, hey, if I was your best friend and I wanted to go to heaven with you, what would I have to do to go? And that's when you start seeing, I'm like, well, now that you're my best friend, I want you to go with me. So what, I don't know, what exactly do you have to go? And sometimes you give them scenarios too. I try to use scenarios to draw out different things. Ron and I both have used different scenarios. Even in the end, like where we always say, scenario driven is a good way of kind of, I wouldn't call it role playing, but it makes them feel comfortable in the sense that you're not just having this strict type of conversation with them. What I do is sometimes we'll say, hey, we'll give them some different scenarios by which, hey, this guy here goes to church every single day. Anybody, he's the nicest guy in the world. If you need $20 and you call him, he's got it. He reads his Bible every day. He goes to church. He does this. And then you have this guy over here who, he believes in the Lord Jesus Christ when he was a kid, but he's in and out of the bars. He does this and he does that. And he's a pretty crummy person. But at the end of the day, when they both die, who goes to heaven and who doesn't? And by giving that type of scenario, it makes them really start to think, because they're thinking, hey, the guy that reads his Bible every day, but we also include, but he never truly believed. Right. He just kind of was in the way, and that's where it kind of grasps them, because they start to actually put themselves in the category of the guy who's crummy, because they're thinking, well, I don't go to the soup kitchen, I don't pray every day, I don't do that. If I have to do all that to go to heaven, and it helps them to put themselves in the other situation, because at the end of the day, we can make it look like we have it all together, but when we lay our head down at night, right, we know just what type of person we are as a human being. And let's be honest, all human beings we're all created equally. We're pretty crazy, so
yeah,
that's one thing I do.
So in a scenario like that, sometimes on Brother Ron, I was just thinking that when he mentioned Brother Ron, he's in Utah on a family trip, so he wished he could be here. But he's like the Garrett for Jacksonville. Like, he's a great guy. He has a way of getting to connecting with people. I love to go soul winning Brother Ron or Brother Garrett. But anyway, one of the things I've seen him do is, like, let's say you're at the door and they're like, they're a vague answer. You can't pin them down. So that way, the reason you want a specific answer is because when you get to the end where it's just belief, they're like, yeah. And you can't deny that they didn't already, because they gave such a vague answer that you don't know. So before you proceed, find out where they are, because they may be saved, but most likely not. They just don't want to give you a specific answer. So Brother Ron will oftentimes say something like this: well, let me ask you this then, because there was a vague answer, I can't tell. Let me ask you this, Jacob. Is it by faith alone that someone is saved, or faith plus works? 99% of the time, they'll be like, oh yeah, faith plus works. Yeah, absolutely. They won't even be like, they'll be like, absolutely, faith plus works. Now you got them. But you gave them an A or a B option, and they chose wrong, but that's what you want, so you know to work. So is it faith alone? Let me ask you this, it sounds like you know you're saved, but let me ask you this: is it by faith alone, or is it faith plus works? And that'll usually get them.